Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order a special meeting of the Oklahoma City Metropolitan Area Public Schools Trust. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the April 6th meeting. I would recognize a motion to that effect.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Financial reports, Mr. Winger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we look at these reports, and I think we've mentioned this in the past, the revenue that you're seeing that's continued to be posted is the interest revenue. This month of February 2010, the interest revenue was $983,000. The total trust revenue to date is $563,954,000. We have about $200 million remaining in the tax fund, and that will be spent on the projects over the next 24 months in construction and 19 on the Suburbans. The detailed reports are attached, and I can answer any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions?
Nope.
I would recognize a motion that this report be approved.
So moved, Mr.
Been
Chairman.
moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. We're now being asked to ratify the payments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's $5,592,693 in sales tax payments that are included on the attached report, and $246,407 on the bond payments for your consideration. We recommend approval.
Questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to ratify these payments?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. We have several consultant review committee reports. Mr. Winger? First one, I guess, is Capitol Hill Elementary School.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our first one today is the Capitol Hill. We have Glover Smith Bodie being recommended for this. We have used our standard procedure for selection. Glover Smith Bodie is going to be a repeat architect. They were formerly performing on John Marshall and Sequoia Elementary Schools. Recommending approval.
Any questions? I'd recognize a motion to approve the report.
Move approval.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Next, we're being asked to receive the Consultants Review Committee report and authorize negotiation of the architectural services contract with Howard & Associates for Columbus at Jackson School.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Howard & Associates is also a repeat architect, previously performing on Horace Mann, Quill Creek, Edwards, and Prairie Queen Elementary Schools. We recommend approval.
Questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to receive this report?
One question. You just went down the list since GSB
Yes.
first? Okay. Motion.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, motion.
Move. Approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Next is to receive the Consultant Review Committee report and authorize the negotiation of the architectural services contract with Richard L. Caven, architect, DBA Caven Design Group for Spencer Elementary School.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is our last consultant report for your consideration today. Caven's previously performed on Gatewood and Hillcrest Elementary Schools, and we recommend approval.
Is there a question? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion for approval.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed by like sign. Thank you. We now move into some schematic design reports. First is to approve the schematic design report for Cleveland Elementary School, project ES 57.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have David Hornbeek here with Hornbeek Blatt Architects to make the presentation. I think the one thing that I'll call to your attention, and David can expand on this at the end of the presentation, is this project is being recommended, although it's $31,336 over the anticipated budget. Primary reason in this is converting 3 classrooms into a new media center that it provides for the best design of the school, but the additional remodel cost was not anticipated in the site and facilities assessment. David's here and can make that presentation and give you further detail on the design.
Good afternoon.
Hi, David.
I'm David Hornbeek with Hornbeek Blatt Architects, and I'm sorry I rushed in, but this is not an excuse. It's actually an exclamation of happiness. It was difficult to find a parking place with all of the things that we have going on around here, the construction, the arts festival, and so, but I did find one, and I got here in time, and it's a great time and a great day to be in Oklahoma City. A lot to do with you, Jim. And how about last night?
Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than that. Sorry, well, I'll start with Cleveland Elementary School. It's an 18,000 square foot addition to an existing two-story facility. We're going to add new classrooms, a special needs facility, occupational and physical therapy, new health clinic. We're going to move the administration area into a better location, and we're going to provide new handicap accessible restrooms. The existing building is about 32,000 square feet, and we're going to remodel in it. Some classrooms are going to turn the old admin area back into classrooms, have special needs on that side, a new English as a second language classroom, modify the food services area, and modify the kitchen essentially, and move the administration. Then outside, we're going to improve the parking and the drop-off area, provide a new carpool drop-off lane off the street, provide ADA accessible sidewalks, new landscaping and fencing. This is an aerial photograph of the existing school, and the parking lot is to the north, and essentially the entry is really to the north because 23rd Street, no one can park there, the students can't come in for it. So there is what I would say, a visual front of the school, but the actual front is on the north side. And this is the plan that we've recommended. It's going to relocate the administration area out where we will provide a new entry that will be, for security reasons, able to be controlled by the administration area. Any visitor or anyone coming to the school will have to check into the admin area before they can come into the school. Have a new elevator in that new wing that will provide handicap accessibility to the second floor. We're going to convert the old administration area into kindergarten classrooms, put a new office in the special needs classroom that already exists in that wing. Then on the second floor, this is kind of where we're changing, and we've got some demo on the second floor that wasn't anticipated, but the wing will line up, and we'll move the media center to where 3 classrooms were on the west side of the old school, and then provide new classrooms above that. I'm going through this very quickly. With that said, the difference is about $31,000 over our budget, and Eric was gracious enough to tell you why that's that way. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. This is our timeline. If you approve us, we hope to be through with construction and occupying sometime in November of 2011.
Questions?
Just 2 quick questions. In your design or your presentation, you said it would accommodate 416. How many students will it go up to? Is it 425, 500?
I believe that the 416 was what was required by the national consultant who did the original programming.
Okay. And reducing the amount of classrooms still meets the program design. Is that
not reducing? We're providing everything that was in the program. We are providing everything for it. We are not reducing any classrooms. The difference is that we're proposing to move the media center different than what the original proposal was into where 3 classrooms were, and then we're going to build additional classrooms outside.
And then lastly, I know the facility is landlocked. Is there a way that, are you going to put portable buildings there to move students in this construction schedule?
Well, there are no portable buildings where we're going to, and there are no portable buildings on this school at this time, and so we believe we'll be able to do this construction without having to, we think this is the best location for the additional wing. It saves what I call the tot lot and then the older playground at the same time. And if you're familiar with that site, I could go back to the aerial photograph. It really falls off on the west side there, and we want to make sure that all of this is up above where that grade change is.
Other questions? I'd recognize a motion to approve the report.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr.
Second.
Chairman.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you.
Appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Next, we are being asked to approve the schematic design report for Independence Charter Middle School, Project ES60.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're pleased to bring this schematic design to you today as well. We have Bacchus Payne, Bruce Bacchus is here to make that presentation and answer any questions that you may have.
I reiterate what David said about what a great time to be in Oklahoma City. My voice is back from the game last night, but staying up past midnight's hard on me. But it was
Lots of
worth
us.
it. It was worth it. And David didn't tell you the real reason that he was late to the meeting. He got a call from his wife, and she says, "David, my car won't start. It's got water in the carburetor." And David says, "What do you mean water in the carburetor?" And so he goes home and says, "Are you sure it's water in the carburetor? You don't even know where the carburetor is." And she says, "Yeah, it's water in the carburetor." And David says, "Let me check it out. Where is it?" She says, "In the swimming pool." That's why he's really late. But I've been told 3 to 5 minutes, and we'll move forward with
Pat Rooney has a tee-off time. I can promise you.
You just missed one, so.
Yeah. It's been a blast working on it. I was a Burbank Bumblebee, which this school was before it became a junior college and then independent charter middle school. And so it's been a blast to go back and relive memories. I mean, my brother, who is not an architect, he's joined me. We've walked through the halls and laughed about funny things. And it's been truly a delight. But the main reason that it's a delight is the incredible job that they're doing there with our kids. It blows me away to see the 300-plus kids there and how energetic they are, how involved the parents are, how committed the faculty is. They're doing an amazing job. I just endorse everything they're doing there. So the executive summary, we're working on the existing 31,000 square feet, about 3/4 of an acre, that was built in the 50s. You can see the 50s kind of modern design that's there. That's the north entry in the picture. And is this my deal here? I handle this. Perfect. I was waiting. Thank you. I need help. And we're adding on 11,800 square feet. That 11,800 square feet will contain a media center, which has the computer room and the reading room, the offices and storage. We're adding restrooms and locker rooms to serve a gymnasium and a PE/coach's office, and then storage to serve the gymnasium. It will accommodate up to 400 students, although they don't have plans to grow it to 400 students at this time. They have just over 300. So at this time, they aren't planning on utilizing what the program says they will be able to. The renovation will include a complete redesign of the administrative area to create a security entry. On a scale of 10, reorienting the building to Independence, its namesake, was a 9.9 by the faculty and staff, and Eric actually endorsed it. I think it was his idea originally to make the school face Independence. Right now it faces 65th Street, much like David's Cleveland School, which faces 23rd, but nobody comes and goes there. This faces 65th, but nobody comes and goes there, very few. So we're going to reorient the entry to Independence and create a nicer look for Independence. We've got cosmetic improvements, asbestos abatement, and those sorts of things for the renovation. There's ADA issues that we need to resolve. The school will receive site upgrades, an accessible route from the school level to the track level. You couldn't go down the hill when I was at Burbank until the first grade, and I remember the first recess at first grade. It was like freedom because you'd run out the door and run down the hill to the lower area. Right now the hill is still there, but there's not an accessible route for, and they do have several kids in wheelchairs, so that's important to them. There's some parking lot repairs and a landscaped area and facade for the reorientation that I spoke about. The aerial photo shows the west side, and right now parking lot goes literally to the building, and we're going to peel off some of that parking lot. I don't know if using a laser pointer matters, but this is the west side, and we're going to peel the parking back and create a landscaped area and put a new canopy to the west. The plan that we're recommending involves the things we've talked about: the new administrative area, the gymnasium, media center, restrooms and locker rooms. And the gymnasium will have its own entry, which will help for after-hours events at the gym. In addition, they use all 3 points of entry as carpool, so they have a very efficient carpool system, and this will help make it even better. It's a close-up showing the plan a little tighter. I just did a quick sketch of what we're talking about on the west side, creating a new canopy here, and it'll be aesthetically very similar to the existing canopy, adding the gymnasium and entry at the gymnasium as well. The construction budget, right now we're $2,000 under budget. I bet we can find a way to spend it because we've looked at 3 different alternates. One thing that's not listed as an alternate now but is very important to the school, right now the gymnasium cannot accommodate a big crowd. It has enough room to put folding chairs around the perimeter of the gym, but they really want to grow the gym 6 more feet so they can have 3 rows of bleacher seating in the gymnasium so they can host events and have more parents sitting there. So we're going to look at that very closely in the next phase to see if we can afford that. The school has talked about raising funds to put in the wood floor and trading that out with an extra 6 feet. So we're kind of in negotiations. The design has not been completed. Our timeline, assuming approval, we'll move on to preliminary design, which will be finished in August, and hopefully the construction will be done in June of 12 and ready for school in the fall of 12. And any questions or comments that you might have? Ready?
Anthony?
You mentioned, or at least the report mentions, the redesign of the cafeteria such that there'll be storage off of the cafeteria, which will move the line off. And I'm not visualizing that. And
Right.
my son goes to the school, so I'm familiar with it, but I'm not visualizing how that'll work.
Right now, the food line sits right out in the cafeteria area, or their multi-purpose room, and we are creating, this is the old boiler room right here, and we are going to abate the boiler, the asbestos or hazardous materials in the boiler room, and turn that into the food line so we can take the equipment, the existing equipment that they have, and reconfigure it in here so kids will come in the line here, loop back, and come out there. Good.
The $2,000 I might suggest be used for hurdles. My son is a hurdler, and they right now use chairs as hurdles.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Take that under advisement.
Are there any other questions? The windows, is that replacement windows, the alternative?
Right now, the windows are original from the 50s. They're single pane, aluminum frame. They aren't thermally broken. They're as energy inefficient as you could possibly have.
That's an alternative we need to
It's
use.
an alternate. If we can afford it, if the bidding climate when we bid it out is favorable and it's very competitive, then we think we'll have an opportunity to use some of the alternates. But our current budget says it's not under the budget, so we have to look at it as an alternate.
Okay, well, I hope the windows get in.
Other questions? I'd recognize a motion for approval.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Been moved, and there's a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Next item is to approve the preliminary report for Belle Isle Middle School, Project ES-48.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This project is also slightly over the budget by $38,000. The primary factor in this overage is to help make a more identifiable entry for this school. It's been one of our important features that we've added to make sure that visitors coming to the school know exactly where to go. We do have Renaissance architects here to make that presentation and answer questions that you may have.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Trust, I'm Robert Grounds with Renaissance Architects. I'm here to present the Belle Isle Enterprise Middle School preliminary design presentation. The outline of the presentation, the scope of the project, site and facility assessment, site aerial view, proposed site plan, front entry, vehicular access, interior improvements and needs, also containing the building floor plans, interior concepts of the cafeteria, conference room, media room, and corridors, a cost estimate, also including construction phasing, and last but not least, any questions. The scope of the project entails the site improvements, the renovation of the entrance administration area, providing secondary administrative areas, an enlarged cafeteria, relocating and enhancing the media center, computer lab, arts facilities, science rooms, new classroom building, and removing the portable classroom buildings, and complying with the current standards. The site and facility assessment entails the enhancement of the front facade, the entry, parking lot addition, loading, zoning expansion, repair and replacement of sidewalks, improving the landscaping and irrigation, improving or adding a fire line, installation of new fire line and hydrants, and we'll be replacing the baseball backstop and fence, adding area drains as required due to the new construction, and repainting the bus canopy. On the site aerial view, the existing building, as you see, can be defined. The dashed areas are the areas of the new classroom addition and the addition to the center portion of the gymnasium media area. The proposed site plan, those areas that are darkly hatched, one at the top of that portion is the new classroom addition, and then there to the left-hand side on the central portion is the storage areas for the media, arts and so forth room. At the top of the slide is the existing entrance. The bottom portion is proposed perspective enhancing, as we were speaking of, the new entry and loading area. This is the next slide, the vehicular access, so that we'll be improving on the loading and both for the students in the parking areas as well as the front entry. The interior improvements are the security vestibule being added, new kitchen equipment, which is a new serving line, replacing ceilings, new carpeting and flooring, providing new storage, new ADA hardware, new accessible restrooms, upgrading the fire alarm, drinking fountains, painting the interior, new and exterior doors, new marker and tack boards, emergency lighting, energy efficient lighting, including wireless clock systems, upgrading the electrical outlets, repairing and adding new HVAC equipment, replacing the existing windows with new thermally broken glazing, new control access to the building along with security systems and video surveillance. The floor plan at the top portion shows the new classroom addition for the 7th and 8th grades. That wing plus the that portion there to the left on the central plan, again, is the storage and so forth. And then the bottom part of the floor plan, lower portion, is the existing building that has been revised for the new classrooms for the 6th grade wing, along with a new admin area, and showing the new expansion of the cafeteria. These are some interior concept perspectives of the cafeteria and conference areas, media areas, corridors, and the construction cost analysis, as Eric was mentioning, we have a difference of $38,715. Project schedule, we are now beginning, or will be beginning, the construction document phase. That will be wrapped up in August, a bidding contract award towards the later portion of November, and construction starting towards the end of November and wrapping up December of 2011. The construction phasing, the classroom addition will start first, again towards the end of November of this year, wrapping up by the 1st of July. The existing classroom renovation, cafeteria administration, fire lane, west parking lot, new storage, relocation of the soccer field and baseball diamonds will occur in June of 2011, and it'll be wrapped up by the 1st of August, and the portable building removal will be the tail end of the project towards the end of December 2011. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
Good.
Go ahead. I do have a question, but I think it's more for Mr. Winger. I noticed that a series of the projects that we're going to be reviewing, it's going to ask us to come back and look at these projects again to see what the cost estimates are during the design phase. Are we going to be looking at these individually or coming back as a group? Because today's total is roughly around $350,000, $400,000. So are we coming back in sum or just individually to look at the cost of these?
We're actually going to look at them individually, project by project, and so they won't come back together. I mean, their schedules are a little bit different, but what we're going to do is we're tasking each of the architects to really consider any further savings so that when we get ready to authorize for final plans, we will be recommending hopefully a project that's within budget. But today, to not delay the projects any further, we're asking them to move ahead.
Other questions? I'd recognize a motion for approval.
So moved, Mr.
Been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Next item is to approve the preliminary report for Sequoia Elementary School, Project ES 55.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This next presentation is by GSB. We do have Ryan Eshelman here to make that presentation and, again, answer any questions that you may have.
Good afternoon. I'd like to walk you through our preliminary report briefly. I respect for your time. I'll be as brief as possible. Some of this information you've seen before in our schematic report. Please interrupt me at any time if you have a question. This project is an expansion of an existing facility to house 494 students, adding 16,000 square feet. The addition will have classrooms and a new cafeteria, and the renovated building will include a new administrative suite, new media center, and other enhancements throughout the building to include many of the improvements you've seen throughout the program, ADA, safety, security, efficiency. All of this done with an eye on maintaining the historic character of this facility. That's one thing that was really important to both the staff and the constituents of the neighborhood, was respecting this beautiful old building. When we studied the site with the staff to kick the project off, loading and unloading conflicts and traffic and wayfinding were big issues. As was mentioned before, like a lot of these old schools, there's a beautiful front to this building on 36th Street, but for many, many years, people have entered it through the back door in the middle of the playground, and people like me have arrived there for the first time and driven 2 or 3 loops to figure out where they parked, and then wandered aimlessly around the property until they found a door that opened. So we're trying to address all of those issues as part of this project. One of the nice things that we're dealing with is we have enough room on the north side of our building on the traditional front to reestablish it as the front. And so that's one of the objectives of the project. These are the scope items that we were challenged with in the project requirements. As Eric mentioned, there were some things that were uncovered during our design process that we incorporated into the project. Those included everything from new lighting and new ceilings. We had to put a sprinkler system in, so we're doing a lot of demolition and tearing up of those ceilings, and they've got situations where aging old shields on light fixtures are literally falling down, so those things had to be addressed. We've also got asbestos-coated steam piping which hangs down in the middle of the hallways that we'd be removing as well. So some of those things were added into the project that weren't originally anticipated. We've also got 2 alternates the north entry drive and visitor parking, which I mentioned we're trying to reestablish the front of the school on the north side of the building. We've designed a drop-off entry drive and handicap and visitor parking in front of the building, which will add to convenience and wayfinding. And we've also incorporated the possibility for some new on-street parking, which will remove some parallel parking situations that they deal with without adding a new parking lot that might be empty a lot of the time to address special evenings and before and after school times. You can see the proposed new entrance on the north in the historic, where the historic entrance was, and the secondary entrance from the loading area on our new addition. The new addition is there in blue-green. The temporary buildings are outside the footprint of the project, so we'll be able to take advantage of that capacity while we build. So it works well for phasing. And you can see the north entry drive, which will allow you to pull in, park easily, and walk directly into the administrative suite and solve a lot of the problems that they're dealing with on site. The building itself has an addition to the south, first in kindergarten classrooms. We're also taking kind of an unattractive and kind of dangerous gap between the buildings and enclosing that, repaving that, and planting some trees in there as an open-air courtyard. There will be a secure area. They could have picnic tables or utilize that for play areas for some of their special need kids or some of the smaller children. We're also adding a cafeteria with a stage, and one of the things that we did working with the staff, they're a performing arts school and a year-round school, so they have some unique program requirements. They have a bond-funded gym coming, not as a part of this project, but coming soon. We've allocated space on the site to attach that gym just below the word stage you see there. And this stage is configured in a way that we can open up the back of the stage to the gym. So they'll have a two-sided stage that will function both with their cafeteria and with their new gymnasium. So some of those provisions have been incorporated into the design. As I mentioned, the historic character is really important to both the staff and the patrons. And so the addition will pick up some of the architectural details of the original building, have the same brick and cast stone details, simplified to make it affordable, but still very much in keeping with the original building, not attempting to attract attention or compete with that beautiful old building. The other nice thing we're doing is there's a butterfly roofed addition that was added on the building in the 40s, which is actually where you enter the new building, and we're capping that with our addition. So the old modernist wing, which was kind of at odds with the 1920s era building, that roof will no longer be seen from the south end where you see the butterfly shape, so it actually kind of ties the whole design together. This is just a tile pattern plan showing how we're incorporating the color palette into patterns within the public areas and corridors. Worked with the staff and the principal to develop a color palette that works with the beautiful gold glazed tile that runs throughout the school, and blue their school colors. We're ahead of schedule right now. We actually are moving forward and can be done with our final plans as early as the end of May. This is as aggressive a schedule as we could anticipate. It may extend a few months, but we're still well ahead of schedule in terms of delivering the project. And we're just anticipating approximately a 15-month construction schedule. This will be complicated by the fact that this is a year-round school, so there will be some unique provisions that will have to be taken into account when the contractor comes on board. This is our budget and our estimated construction cost at this point. You can see it's about $45,000 above the MAP's budget at this point for reasons that were mentioned earlier. We've also got two alternates that we're trying to incorporate in the project, so as we move forward in construction documents, we're looking for any opportunities to incorporate savings that will allow us to get all these elements into the project with your budget. We're being certainly hold your budget in the highest regard and want to give you the best possible project with the money that you have available. I welcome your questions if there's anything I didn't touch on that you'd like to know more about.
Carl?
Yes, I've got a question about, you're going to add the parking lot to the north side facing Northwest 36th. How are you all, do you all anticipate any traffic issues, given that Northwest 36th is?
We absolutely cannot queue up onto 36th. Presently, and I'll reverse to that slide, presently the loading occurs on the southwest corner of the site. So we will have basically a gate arm installed, and so during before and after school loading, the access from 36 will be closed off. So you'll still circulate in a clockwise motion around the site, but during other times of day, that gate will be open and people can pull in, pick their kids up and leave, or visitors can arrive. So we'll control access in that way.
Okay.
Other questions? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion for approval.
I move to approve.
Been moved, it's been seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item, recommend the Board of Education of Independent School District Number 89 approve the preliminary report for Northeast Academy for Health Sciences and Engineering.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have LWPB Architecture here to make this presentation and answer questions that you may have. One of the items that you'll note in your packet is that this project is considerably over the budget by over $200,000, and I'll allow them to answer those questions that you may have regarding that. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Randy Brooks. I'm with LWPB, and I have a lot of slides, so I'm just going to try to go through these as quickly as we can. But if you do have questions, please feel free to stop me and ask. Well, not that quick. We are doing these particular things for code compliance. And accessibility requirements, we're going to be putting in chairlifts and restoring elevator and different things like that throughout the building. This building is going to be totally remodeled. There's no addition on this one. We'll be complying with the district standards. We're going to provide one central science lab instead of trying to reestablish every single lab, but we're going to have one science lab that all the science classes can use. We're going to upgrade the kitchen and upgrade systems within the building. Update all the interior remodel spaces, and refurbish the existing casework that's in the building. One of our main goals is to restore the original entrance. Again, this building was using a side entrance that really didn't relate to the courtyard that's already in existence. One of the concerns for the school was that they have a drop-off lane near this front entrance, and that's one of the alternates that we're proposing. We also are providing a new media center, an enlarged center, and we've kept that close to the core classrooms. Another goal was to group the curriculum programs together and to distribute the administrative areas throughout the building. It's a large facility, 160,000 square feet. Another one of the school's goals is to have a pre-engineering curriculum, and we have also identified areas where we can have this curriculum program. One of the areas that it's a new area, is a secured landscape area right outside the cafeteria so that there's the control in that area. We've also got some alternates for remodeling the existing locker rooms so that they would be functional and close to the practice fields. Also an alternate to demolish the existing stadium and provide just limited seating for practice purposes. Again, the drop-off lane and the visitor parking was a concern that the school had, the staff. This is a site plan, and you'll notice that the new drop-off lane is on the southwest corner there off of Kelly Avenue, and then the secured patio is in to the north, in between the north wing of the building. The stadium is off to the side, and this property is partially owned by the city of Oklahoma City. And so the playing fields right now, they're using other playing fields and going to other areas for that. This is the first floor plan, and it's actually what we'd call the basement, but that is where the basement area is a split level area, so there are windows all the way around this space, but the media center would be one large area, and it would be accessible at night and would be able to close off the rest of the building. And it's also close to the core classes. This is the main floor, and the main entry is towards the bottom of this slide. The auditorium is right now needs quite a bit of work done on it, and we're going to restore the auditorium so that it would be a lecture place, not to a drama or performance type auditorium, but it'd be able to have assemblies there and have speaking and reuse that area. We've located the main administration area right off the main entry. We've also provided a commons area where the existing library was at, and we're going to incorporate a history museum for Northeast. In this area, there would have a wall that would be able to put pictures of past events at Northeast that are important to the school. And also, if you'll notice at the north end of the plan, we've grouped the music and band areas together, the areas that would maybe have more noise away from the core classrooms. The third floor is mainly classrooms, general classroom space. And we're just basically remodeling each classroom there. Same way with the fourth floor. This is the existing commons area, and this is a rendering of what we're proposing for the commons area. That back wall would become the history wall for Northeast. And we did these renderings before we did our colors, so we've got a little more spunk in some of these than what's showing up in these renderings. Again, this is the same space, just a picture of it, how it would look remodeled. This is the new media center. It would all be open. Lots of windows, and it would be a bright space. And we're not going to use that checkered couch, by the way. This is an area that used to be a Votech area, and that space is going to be reclaimed for band. And we'd be putting new windows in right there, and that's adjacent to where the secured courtyard would be. And here's our cost estimate, and it was noted that we are $219,326 over the original budget. When we first reviewed these plans, there was 25 assessment items, and we noted that there had to be additional assessment items to meet code and just for curriculum and different purposes. And we've worked through these things probably close to 10 months. And anyway, we've identified those areas, and we have established 4 alternates. Also, above this 4% would be remodeled some existing locker rooms, provide 2 new locker rooms near the athletic fields, demolish the existing stadium, and provide a new visitor student drop-off lane. And we're looking at construction beginning in December, if this is approved, ending in February of 2012. Do you have any questions?
Questions? Anthony?
Are the alternates considered to be in priority order?
No, they are not.
Other questions? Seeing none, thank you. I recognize a motion for approval.
Move approval.
It's been moved or second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Final plans and specifications. We're first being asked to approve the final plans and specs for Oak Ridge Elementary School early start fire alarm project.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We actually engaged this as a series of 10 projects with HSC Architects, only to learn that the city of Midwest City, Del City, was putting some requirements on the district to have Oak Ridge upgraded before the start of the next school year in August. And so we have taken this project out of the series with the other 9. We're going to be advertising it early to meet the requirements that fire marshal has placed on this school. And so this will be a single bid. Estimated cost is about $40,000. The plans have been completed. The bid date would be May 18th, and we recommend approval.
The motion for approval?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Next, we're being asked to recommend to the Board of Education, Independent School District Number 89, that they approve the final plans and specifications for Capitol Hill High School and authorize the Secretary to advertise for bids.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is our final presentation for this afternoon. We're pleased to bring this high school project for your consideration. We do have Gary Armbruster with Meyer Architects here to make the presentation and answer any questions that you may have.
Good afternoon.
It's always fun being last, isn't it?
What's that?
It's always fun being last, isn't it?
It is. It is. I'm going to run through it very quickly, but please feel free to stop me at any point if you have any questions. This is the agenda for today. We're going to go through all the plans, the color board, some renderings, the design schedule. Essentially, we are renovating all 312,000 square feet of Capitol Hill High School. Very large project. When it's finished, it will have a capacity of 1,079 students. And we are addressing all life safety, ADA, everything associated with the building, all the problems it was having before we are addressing. Here's a 2-page list of some of the items that we are doing. This is a summary of everything from replacing damaged ceilings to really just touching every surface of this building. And we'll go through that as we walk through the plans. Life safety upgrades, HVAC upgrades, new restrooms, asbestos abatement, ADA, and then we do have one alternate, which is a new parking lot that we'll look at here on the site plan. A few different areas around. The main building that everyone knows is Capitol Hill High School, fronting 36th Street. Total building renovation to the east of that, where we show alternate one, is our new parking lot. We have ample parking to the south. However, you can see where the front door is off 36th Street and where the parking is. It's a long way away. No ADA facilities closed, and staff at night and after hours, it's just difficult to park there. So we are looking at an alternate for that. To the southeast is the vocational building that will be renovated. To the southwest, the field house that will be renovated. Just west of the field house, a new football and soccer practice field. And then north of that, the stadium will have some upgrades related to it. The legend that I have here is broken into different levels of renovation. The blue is our only addition, and that's our 2 fire stairs at the dead-end corridors. That's the only addition we have. The yellow are areas of extensive remodel where you're basically gutting the area. Green is major remodel, and the brown is minor remodel, and these colors are evident all the way through my presentation, all the same. This is a blow-up of the renovated administration area, new administration area, in the same location, but just changing everything within it. Media Center is a different story, that it's being gutted and more than doubling in size. It's just not big enough for this size of a high school. Essentially in the same location, but again, more than doubling in size. Student services area, we're moving them from different areas around the building into this single location for easy access for students and for parents. Second floor, again, more renovation, every surface, every corridor, every classroom, just different levels depending on the needs of that particular classroom. Same thing for the third floor as well. In the vocational building, a little bit different story, where about half the building or 3/4 of the building is minor remodel, and the area that's in yellow is extensive remodel, where we're upgrading restrooms. And overall, we're getting a net gain of 4 classrooms for the entire school building. So we do have a net gain of classrooms, which everyone is pleased with. Weight building, adding ADA restrooms and small locker rooms, and a ramp to make the weight room accessible. And then the field house, again, additional ADA restrooms, locker rooms, just different spaces throughout as required by the program. And the same thing on the second floor of the field house. Really, the only thing we're not touching in the field house is the gym floor area and the seating area. Those were in good shape, and so that will not be remodeled. Typical corridor elevation at Capitol Hill, where we're just, again, touching every surface, adding new finishes to match their school colors. And here's a look at the color board, giving a small example of the colors that will be used, the reds and blacks, the maroons and creams and tans that are the school colors. Cost estimate, program budget was $10,831,000. Preliminary estimate is $10,849,000 with a difference of $17,900, almost $18,000 difference. Again, this is like some of the previous MAPS projects. We started out with around 30 plus site facility items, and we're at, I think, over 70 now. Fire sprinklers needed to be addressed, things like that. So that's part of the reason for the increased budget. And then our alternate price of $155,000. Schedule, we are at final plans and specifications, asking for approval for that today, going out to bid and receiving bids next month. Construction starting in July of this year and being complete 2 years later in August of 2012 in time for school. Any questions?
Questions? Carla?
Can you tell me if there were any requests or needs made by the community or school district staff that you weren't able to meet?
Yes, a lot. What those were specifically were, they wanted to make sure that they weren't losing classroom space, wanted to make sure that every area was being renovated. Trying to think, were there any others, Kathy, that the community had? Parking lot, that's true. The parking lot was a big one. That was really the main reason for it. The safety and getting in there after hours, that was a big item.
Okay. All right.
But so far we've had all the community meetings, and everyone seems very happy, and the staff is incredibly happy. We've had a lot of meetings with the staff over the past couple of years.
Good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd recognize a motion to approve the final plans and specs. I'm sorry, to recommend that they be approved and sent to the school district.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. We have 3 change orders. I'm going to ask you to present them all 3, and then we'll vote on them together.
Sounds good. First one is Putnam Heights Elementary School. There are 7 items. It also includes a 14-day contract extension. The largest of the 7 items is item number 3, drain extension and waterproofing. We found some items during construction in the basement where we were seeing some continual water leaks, and this work is necessary to make sure that we've got a dry basement when we're finished with construction. You'll see that the other items are fairly lesser in significance. There are some restroom revisions, though, that were necessary in some other items. When we speak of Putnam Heights, this is about a 0.5% change to the total contract. With the previous change order, 2.61% overall, and we're recommending approval of that one. The second change order, North Highland Elementary School, $20,243, 4 items. There are no additional time requests on this. The most significant item is item number 1, some storm sewer revisions for $16,305. Additional drain inlets were required just to ensure adequate drainage from the site. These weren't included in the original plans, but identified during construction. The other items, again, $2,000 and $1,000 items. With the total changes to date, including this change order, this would be 1.1% over the original contract amount. Construction's proceeded very quickly on that project, over 70% complete. The last change order for your consideration is actually a change order and an acceptance of the Mark Twain Elementary School project. Final change orders, $5,898. This takes care of some final and last-minute items that were uncovered during the final walkthroughs, more or less, as a part of that school, some drainage modifications and some electrical modifications. Obviously, no additional time, but the significance of this item is the project is 100% complete, and we're recommending acceptance. The grand reopening celebration is later in May, and so we're going to be recommending all 3 for approval.
Any questions? I recognize a motion that we approve all 3 change orders.
Approval.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. We're being asked to accept the Gatewood Elementary School project and place the maintenance bond into effect, project ES 13.
Yes, and all work is complete at Gatewood, and again, the grand reopening celebration is being scheduled for May.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Likewise with Heronville Elementary School.
No further comments. Again, completed work, and the school's been in use for some time.
Is there a motion for approval?
Approval.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed by like sign. Item number 8, purchase authorizations. We're being authorized to purchase and install installation of network equipment and classroom phones for 14 schools from Presidio Network Solutions, Inc. for a total of $889,340.72.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These 14 schools that are included on this list are either projects that are in construction or very soon to be in construction. These will be the network and voice over IP phone systems that will be installed in those schools as the construction proceeds. So it is a considerable amount, $889,000. We did use the annual contracting process that we've used in the past. Recommended vendor is Presidio Network Solutions, who submitted the best price for the equipment, and we're recommending approval.
Was this stuff that wasn't in the previous, wasn't in the school's budget? So we just added this?
We actually are doing the network system separate from construction, taking advantage of some bulk purchasing.
Right.
Okay, that's fine.
Any other questions? Recognize a motion for approval.
Move approval.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Mr. Couch.
Real quick, there's a number of projects that are coming up for bid in the next few weeks. Parks Elementary and the Jefferson Davis demolition project will be both on May 4th. Oak Ridge fire alarms will be on May 18th. Capitol Hill High School on May 25th. Southern Hills Elementary on June 8th. Northwest Classen High School on June 15th. And then in June also we'll be bidding out Eugene Field Elementary School. So a number of projects being bid in the next 2 months. There's a community meeting at Rockwood Elementary School on Tuesday, next Tuesday the 26th at 6 p.m. And then we're starting to have some groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings. Some that are scheduled is Linwood Elementary on May 10th for a groundbreaking. Mark Twain Elementary, a ribbon cutting on Tuesday, May 11th. And Fillmore Elementary, a groundbreaking on Friday, May 14th. And invitations are being mailed for all the groundbreaking and ribbon cutting events. And our next trust meeting will be in about a week and a half on May 4th.
Any questions for Mr. Couch? We have program consultant update in your packet, both the local business utilization report and their normal monthly report. Are there any comments by trustees, staff, citizens? Thank you very much for being here. We're adjourned.